Good afternoon to all of you. So in the today's class, in the previous class we looked at that your PIV, particle image velocimetry, okay, and also we extended to your what is the other thing that we have seen in the last class? Could you please summarize? Excuse me. What are the other things we have seen in the last class?
It's about planar laser induced fluorescence.
Okay, Plick techniques. Okay, good.
Used for velocity, pressure, and temperature measurements.
Okay. Can you explain? Any one of you? Can you summarize about the Plick technique? Okay, whatever the points you know about Plick technique, can you say that? Okay.
In the molecules in the ground state, they absorb the light, and then they get excited to higher energy state, and after a very short period, like few nanoseconds, they come back to their ground state, and at the same time they emit wavelength.
So, so then, what is the difference between your pressure sensitive paints and Plick? Because it seems, Pavan, you are talking about pressure sensitive paints. Talking about pressure sensitive paints. It's good. You told something. I'm really appreciating you.
So in this technique, we will have like a source of light, a fluorescent medium, detector,
But,
UV light, sir.
UV light, or is it so? So then, if it is a UV light, I don't have to spend so much money, sir. If you have a technology, please provide it to me. So then I am ready to pay for that. we are going to spend more than 1.5 crores for establishing that facility.
We have to form some sheets using lenses.
Which light, which lens? It's good, Pawan. Okay, and thanks for your starting up. Someone else, give us some idea about what do you mean by Plick. What is the expansor for Plick?
So planar laser induced fluorescence.
Yeah, very good, very good, very good. What are the components are there, sir? Can you explain what is just the measuring principle? We have one-line measuring principle. Yes, sir. Quick, sir. Quick. I told you in the last class itself. Let us have a participation, sir. It's better. If we have a participation, then it's going to give a N2 for me to prepare more. Otherwise, okay, I'll show something and then go. That's all. Because your receptivity level is limited, so I should not push more things. And we won't forget this in future also. If we are going to discuss among ourselves. Just I am asking you to summarize what are the things we have seen in the last class. Any one of you, sir, Plick technique.
Sir, I'll give a simplified explanation. Sir.
Yeah, give me, sir.
Basically, light is from a laser source, sir.
Yeah, very good, very good.
And it passes through a series of lenses.
What's it doing?
If it passes through a series of lenses, we get a laser sheet.
Okay.
The sheet falls on the flow medium and desired flow which we want to measure, and then that light is then reflected onto a camera. A camera captures the light. Before the camera, we have a filter which specially what is it? Sir, we have a filter which enhances the image.
Very good, very good. The filter is going to capture only the particular your frequency, related to a particular frequency. Are we going to use any seeding particle into it? Fluorescent particle into it?
Fluorescent. Sir, I'm not sure.
Okay, good. Very good. Good explanation, Sanjeev. Thank you. Yeah, some more point to add.
Sir, we use a fluorescent dye, sir.
Okay. Okay, Nitin.
At the region of the test section which we want to observe, and because of the laser, the temperature of that dyed region will be specified in a different color in the final filtered image.
Very good. So then, what is the difference between your PAV and PLIF, sir? Your PAV and PLIF. What is the difference? PAV is particle image velocimetry, and what is the difference between these?
Sir, in PAV, the particles concentration will decide the image, final image. So here we use a fluorescent dye, and then we use a camera to capture it. Filter, we use a filter and the camera to capture it.
Very good. Very good. Okay. See, I think Pawan started something, but he went little away into the process sensitive science, and okay, Sanjeev come up with something different concrete idea. Okay, Sanjay he explained the bodybuilder. Okay, Nitin also mentioned something. So I'm going to put everything together. Okay. See, here in the case of your PLIF, what are we going to do is, okay, in the case of a combustion imagings and all, okay, you need to have a laser light. What are the components are the laser light? Okay, that laser light, it's going to be with the help of a seat optics. You mentioned about, Sanjeev mentioned about set of lenses and all. The purpose of that, it's going to convert your beam into a light. Sorry, beam into a seat. Beam into a seat. So what we call these lens arrangement, what we call it as a seat optics. Okay. So then the seat is going to be, laser seat is going to be passed to the region where we want to measure the fluid flow measurement or thermal flow measurement, where we want to measure that. So now, okay, one thing is, in the case of a combustion, we need to have a fluorescent particle we need to add, or otherwise, if you look at that, inherently I mentioned in the last class, okay, if you are going to have a methane flame, methane air flame, or a methane oxygen flame, you are going to have a different types of radicals. Or even if you take your CH4 alone, it's going to have a, if you look at that, CH bond is going to be there, CH. And inherently, okay, if your methane is going to react with oxygen, means burn with oxygen, it's going to produce a water vapor. In addition to water vapor, it's going to produce I told you, okay, free radicals. So everywhere involves your OH bond. So depending on your CH, your OH, and your NOx, your CO, there will be a different in your excitation. Depending on the molecule, okay, depending on your molecule, there is a different in excitation. So with the help of a filter, okay, it's going to allow only the particular filter. For example, if I have a CH filter, it's going to allow frequencies related, excited frequency related to your CH filter, to your detector. So from that, okay, we are going to process, okay, this is your concentration. If it is okay, even CH and all, without laser illumination itself, you can get it. What we call it as a self-induced fluorescence image. But in the case of a OH or a NOx or a CO, there and all, you need to have a laser, this one. Even if you have a OH imaging, from that you can get the flame temperature also. Particular location, you can get the flame temperature. So, for example, in the case of a spray measurement and all, because water is not going to means any excitation, so you need to have a smaller amount of dye, you have to add it into that. The dye is going to be gets induced, okay, with the help of a laser light, okay, gets reflected, okay. So that is the one we are going to measure it as a your droplet shapes, okay, droplet velocity using image correlations and all, like whatever the way we are doing it in the your PIV, we can get it. See, if you look at your PIV, if okay, even now we are going to see the LDV, everything is going to be one-to-one. Somehow the principles are going to be related, but we are going to add up some more things and we are going to get it done. Okay, so the laser sheet is going to be passed through the region of interest. So depending on the molecule, it's going to get ignited. In the case of a combustion imaging, you need to have a filter to capture it. Okay, particular filter related to that. Okay, so you are going to capture the how your with respect to flame, which location. For example, you take your flame here. For example, okay, this is your flame. I want to measure the this location, how your CH profile, OH profile, okay, CO profile, even temperature, flame temperature from the your OH itself, we can measure the your temperature. Just they are in the interview or wherever you go, people are not going to ask too much interesting questions. They are going to ask about that whether you understand that. So moment if you get your idea about that you are playing for a PIV, automatically your intuition, okay, if you are going to work in X-model aerodynamics area, X-model thermal fluids, okay, automatically you will go into the particular this one. Just to generate your own interest, okay, just to get a basic framework. Right now, whatever the one we are seeing, it's only basic framework. We are not going into the how we are computing the data. We are not writing any programming. Those things are not. Just we are writing, okay, what are the components are there? What is the pros and cons of that? How we are we operating? Where are we going to use? How are we going to use? Okay. Now, okay, if you come to the your laser Doppler velocity metric, so here we are going to measure the instantaneous velocity of the flow field basically here. In the case of your LDV, your laser Doppler velocimetry, we are going to measure your instantaneous flow, instantaneous velocity. Instantaneous velocity means, okay, we are going to have a U of t, for example, a single component, okay, U of t. So you can write it as in terms of U bar into U dash of t also, you can write it. Similar to PIV, okay, you can measure, it's also a non-intrusive technique, okay, we are not going to put any probe into it, and we can measure the all three components of velocity, that's what U, V and W. So here what are we going to do is, okay, we are going to have a monochromatic beam towards the target, and we are going to collect the reflected radiation. So, and we are going to see the change in wavelength of the reflected radiation from the whatever the your beam, monochromatic laser beam. Already we are going to take a known wavelength of the your laser beam. We are going to take it as, so that's going to be passed through the your region where we have to make a measurement, okay, that's going to pass through that, okay, and we are going to, with the help of your receiving optics, okay, receiver, okay, we are going to measure the reflected light radiation, okay, its wavelength. So now according to Doppler effect, okay, the change in wavelength of the reflected radiation is a function of your target object's relative velocity. That is, okay, your into the region of, okay, your measurement. What are we going to do? Okay, we are going to pass the laser light to that, and we know that wavelength of that known wavelength here, okay. So now after passing through that, okay, the reflected light will be there. that's going to have a different your lambda wavelength. Okay, so that is the one we are going to measure it with the help of your receiving optics. Okay, we will see what are the things are going to be there. Okay, so now comparing to that whatever the incident and the reflected, we can get a change in your wavelength. Okay, so that's going to be according to Doppler effect. Okay, so it's going to be is a function of your change in wavelength is going to be function of your target object's relative velocity. So how are we going to measure your velocity of the object? Obtained by measuring the change in wavelength of the reflected laser light, which is done by we are going to form the fringe pattern, okay, from the original light as well as from the reflected light. Okay, so we are going to superimpose the original and reflected signals, and from that we are going to get the change in wavelength, and further from that we are going to have the your velocity of the object. This is the basis of your laser Doppler velocity. Okay, so what I will do is, okay, I will show you a video to you, so then you can get an idea.
Laser vibrometry uses the Doppler effect to measure vibrations. If light is scattered from a moving object, its frequency is changed slightly. Within a Polytech vibrometer, a high-precision interferometer detects the minute frequency shifts of the backscattered laser light. To achieve this, the interferometer splits the light into two parts. The so-called reference beam is pointed directly to the photodetector, while the measurement beam is incident on the test object, where the light is scattered by the moving surface. Depending on the velocity and displacement, the backscattered light is changed in frequency and phase. The characteristics of the motion are completely contained in the backscattered light. The superposition of this light with the reference beam creates a modulated detector output signal, revealing the Doppler shift in frequency. Signal processing and analysis provides the vibrational velocity and displacement of the test object.
Okay, now did you get something out of it? Okay, in terms of your how your or do you want me to play once again? Excuse me, sir.
It's fine.
Fine.
Fine. Okay, it's good. Now we'll go ahead with our own discussion now, right now. So this is what your principle behind your LDV. So next is, okay, this is a schematic diagram. Already we have seen that. Okay, your laser light. Okay, what are we going to? We are going to split that beam splitter with the beam splitter. One is straight away going to your light detector. Okay, another is, okay, passing through your seat optics. Okay, sorry, your region of interest, and then, okay, and the scattered light is going to be further captured with your light detector. Okay, so you can easily find out the velocity in the particular location, 3 component of velocity. So what are the basic components are there in your laser light that we need to know? For if it is a one channel, we need a single color laser. Okay, a laser system, continuous wave system, and transmission optics. What we call it as, it's a Bragg cell. Okay, that's going to split that. Okay, lenses, beam expander, beam splitter, mirrors, prisms. Okay, fiber cable link with the laser beam manipulator. Everything will be there in the case of your transmission optics, and also your receiving optics. Okay, That's going to be a lens and a pinhole, an interference filter, and photomultiplier. These are the part of this one. We know that the transmission light itself, we can get a set of a wave, and also the receiving optics after passing through that gets reflected and come back here, okay, and they are going to be superimposed one over the other. We are going to do the signal processing unit, okay. So what are the parts are there, okay? The fringe counting, spectral analysis, and photon correlations. Those things will be there, part of the signal processing unit. And also sometimes what will happen, okay, we need a transfer swing mechanism. So now most of the cases they will go for automated, okay, for transmitting as well as receiving optics, for capturing the transmitting and receiving optics. And other thing is, okay, if you want to see your shift in frequency and all, if you want to see that, okay, for that we need your oscilloscope. And also if it is okay, if you want to generate a seeding particle and seeding generator also is required, and you need a large capacity computer, okay, with a data acquisition board and data handling software, because you are going to get a more number of information, so that's going to have, okay. If you want to have a easy handle of type of LDV, you need to have a fiber transmission and receiving optics. These are the components of your LDV. Okay. What are the components are there? Just look at them. Just you need to know your transmission optics, receiving optics, signal processing unit. Sometimes you need a manual you need a traversing mechanism. You can use a manual or automated. What is the purpose of that? Okay. For transmitting your laser light or receiving the laser light. And next is, okay, so in the case of a LDV, what are we going to do? If you look at that operation, what we are going to do in the flow domain, we are going to send your seeded particle, okay. The particles are going to be, what is that? Okay, your particles are going to be small particles, small enough and neutrally buoyant, means that should not go up because of the buoyancy effect, and also because of the gravity effect that should not come down. That is neutrally buoyant particle that scatters the light, because already I mentioned about the particle size is sufficient enough to scatter the light, and the particles are illuminated by the known frequency of laser light. So the scatter light further we are going to detect with your photomultiplier tube, okay. The instrument that generate a current in proportion of observed photon energy, and then because what will happen, because of the change in velocity, your shift in frequency is going to be very, very small. But with the help of a photon multiplier, okay, it's going to amplify the signal, whatever the way your amplifier is doing, okay. That's what we call it as a PMT, okay, photomultiplier tube, okay. So now we have your incident light frequency as well as scattered light frequency. So the difference is going to talk about that your Doppler shift. Okay. So now, okay, by analyzing the Doppler equivalent frequency of the laser lights, scattered laser light, okay. So that's include intensity modulation within your crossed beam probe volume, okay. By the seeded particle within the flow, the local velocity. Basically, a simple way is, okay, we are going to relate that your Doppler shift with your local fluid velocity particularly. So if you want to do, okay, you need to shift your incident light different locations. If you want to have, for example, okay, a test section, if it is okay, a square test section. So you want to measure your velocity at different location, okay. You are going to have your laser light is going to be passed at different locations. We are going to collect your scatter light frequencies, and from that, okay, we can calculate different zones, your UV, W velocity complex. This is your arrangement, okay. What are how your arrangement of your real-time arrangement of your LDV? I took it from the website. And there will be a pros and cons associated with your LDV. The pros is going to be, it's basically non-contacting measurement. Your LDV is going to be a non-contacting measurement, and it's having a very high response, frequency response, because the shift frequency is going to be very limited because of your flow. So very high frequency response, and the difficulty associated with that, okay, the transparency, sufficient transparency should be there between the laser source, target surface, and your photomultiplier. For example, okay, I want to do that in a tunnel. Okay, if I keep some walls, that should have a sufficient amount of transparency. Whatever your windows and all. Normally we will be going for an optical window, high quality optical window. That itself costing so much money, but most of your educational demonstration purpose, some of the research, they will be going for acrylic windows and all. And accuracy is highly dependent on alignment of emitted as well as reflected beam, because it's really tough. Okay, and if you look at your LDV, laser Doppler velocimetry, is going to be expensive, and if you are going to, the main cost is associated with the laser. Okay, so if you are going to get a commercial laser, okay, if the prices drop, okay, we can get it for a lower cost and all. Any questions, sir? Any questions? Okay, if you don't have any question, then I'll move to the next part of it. Okay, so extended version of your LDV is basically, it's what we call it as phase Doppler particle analyzer. That is, in a compressive terms, we will call it as a PDPA. So with the help of a PDPA, you can measure simultaneously both size of the droplet, velocity, and concentration of the spherical particle in the particular geometry domain. Basically, it's going to be applicable in the case of your liquid sprays. Your PDPA is going to be mainly for your this one, and sometimes, okay, if your fluid is going to be dispersed with a bubble or a solid sphere, there also you can use your PDPA. You can measure the size, as well as if the whatever the solid sphere, if it is moving with certain velocity, you can measure that. Even the concentration of your spherical particles also you can measure with the help of your PDPA. That's the advantages. So that's your application of that. So we are going to measure your both size and velocity. So with the help of that, okay, we are going to do correlation between these two quantities. Okay, we are going to measure the here, because the spray or like a bubble movement or a solid sphere agitation, everything is going to be related to moving particles. Okay, so using Doppler effect only, similar to that your LDA. Okay, we are going to measure your size, velocity, and concentration of your spherical sphere using a Doppler effect. So similar to that, okay, this technique is developed based on your LDV systems. Okay, and this is a typical your schematic of your PDPA. Your laser light, we are going to pass through that. Here the thing is that, okay, if you look at that, okay, if you look at that particular probe volume, particular location, particular region only, we can measure that. So if you want to have a spray is going to be coming out of a nozzle, okay, if you want to have your different location, okay, you need to pass the laser at a different location, and different point you need to measure your spray distribution. Based on your fringe pattern, how the shift in fringe pattern is going to be measured as your difference in wavelength. Using a Doppler shift, we can measure these things. So, and there is some issues. We won't say that issues. Okay. A peculiarity of your PDPA. So, a limitation, you can take it a limitation and all. So, as I mentioned earlier, you are going to do it for a point sampling devices, like a particular location. and it's going to be a flux sensitive. Flux means mass flux or momentum flux, like that. Okay, so those things, okay, we are going to measure that. Okay, based on that. Okay, your point sampling devices and flux sensitive instrument. The point sampling refers to instrument that focus on a portion of the total spray pattern. A portion of the total spray pattern. For example, a spray is going to be coming like that, a spray cone is going to be coming like that. Okay, so we are going to focus on a particular zone like that. Requires targeting several test points with the spray in order to obtain a composite sample of your spray flux pattern. For example, mass flux. Okay, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, if it is your injector phase, okay, your spray is going to coming out. Okay, we used to measure the how at if it is this is a D diameter of the your orifice, okay, will be 10B location. How the mass flux distribution. So if you want to get a complete information like that, okay, for example, you take a AEA, and if you are going to do that, okay, a circular pattern, we need to have a complete pattern about this one in these zones. So your components of your PDPA, it's going to have a highly specialized technology, measure any liquid spray with transparent and semi-transparent droplets. Okay, the equipment has a laser-based optical transmitter and optical receiver and electronic signal processor and software for capturing and analyzing the data. This is for the part of that. The laser beams of the analyzer interact with the sample volume location. So how your spray and all it's developed and all, we have to know about that. Okay, here this zone, it's going to talk about that your the liquid is going to be discharged through the pump. Okay, it passes through the your nozzle orifice or a sprinkler. It produces an attractive spray pattern. You might have seen that. Okay, in the most of the locations, how the your spray and all. Okay, you might have seen that. Okay, and what will happen if you take your spray pattern? Okay, yes, spray pattern is going to come. Okay, droplets and all is going to be there. So a drop is going to be, for example, this is your laser light interaction zone. A drop is going to pass through that your laser beam sections. The light is going to be scattered, forms the interference patterns with the help of your receiving optics. So since the droplet is moving, the scattered interference pattern sweeps past your receiver aperture at your droplet shifter frequency, which is going to be proportional to your droplet velocity. And also, if you look at the spatial frequency of your fringe pattern, it's going to be inversely proportional to your droplet diameter. So this is the physics associated with your laser Doppler shift effect. Okay, so using these two things, we can measure your velocity as well as size of the droplet. This is like a spray pattern. You can see that. A spray is coming out. Okay, the droplet is forming in this zone. So the advantage of PDPA is your phase Doppler method requires no calibration. We don't need any calibration because the measured particle size and the velocity are depend only on the laser wavelength and optical configurations. And also in the earlier cases and all, we need to worry about light intensity. But in the PDPA measurement, it's not based on the light intensity and not subjected to errors from beam attenuation or a deflection, because which used to occur in the case of dense particles and combustion environment. Basically, your beam attenuation, okay, or deflection, it's going to occur in the case of your dense particles and your combustion environment. So, which is not the case. Your this one, okay. We can go over with that. Any questions, sir? I done with that. Your PDP and LEA. If you have any questions, please tell me. I'll clarify that. If you have any questions, we will discuss